My name is Paul, and we're here with Allison making her grand return after a spectacular time we had the last time you came on my channel. You amazed to be back, or are you hoping your audience is okay with your new hairstyle?
Yes.
She's usually much more loquacious than that. I think she's just being silly right now.
Yes. Yes, I am.
And so we are going to be talking about my 2015 mission trip, which she also went on. That's actually how we met. And she's going to be giving some of her perspectives on the trip, in addition to what I already told you in my previous mission trip video. I called it Just Paulism as like my series of videos that I made about it.
What was your reasoning for calling it that?
Because I wanted people to realize that, I felt like being myself. I didn't want to be like this fake YouTube persona. So people would often say like, "Oh, you're just being Paul," and I'd say, "Hey, that's not a bad idea."
Nice.
So what I'm gonna do is just gonna be giving her a question and answer format about like what she remembers about the mission trip, and I go into the very little details too. So you'll have to really get your Big Brain Academy degree out.
Oh, yeah. I'm really going to have to get my Big Brain Academy.
And hopefully you guys can hear this okay. If you can't,
Yes.
if you can't, let me know and I'll try to arrange something. But so for now, let's start in chronological order. So we got to
Okay.
ride on what was it, a charter bus?
Yes. Yeah. To the place. Yeah, we
Yep.
rode a charter bus to and fro.
What did you think about riding on the bus?
I don't like charter buses. That's just a personal thing. I don't like sitting in place for a long periods of time, but it was okay. The people were nice. So that's my thoughts.
I remember really liking the charter bus most of the time because it brought back fond nostalgia for when I went on the March for Life. Albeit, I think it was more so the feeling of what was going on the trip as opposed to the bus itself.
Yeah, I think the experience of like knowing you're heading towards something that you want to do is more exciting than the fact of riding a bus for I don't even know like 12, 14 hours. Something.
Yeah, it was a pretty long time.
Yeah.
We went like basically across the U.S. and we also had to sleep on the bus. So what did you think about that?
Oh, I didn't sleep. I cannot sleep on those type of. That is the one reason why I don't like it because traveling like at night, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Would not recommend. But I would recommend the trip, but not the travel.
Yeah, I personally wasn't too thrilled with the sleeping on the bus either, but I realized that that really saved on like renting a church like we
Oh.
usually did.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And our bus drivers were really nice.
They
Like
were.
we went to Burger King together, and I got to like ask him like, what's it like being a bus driver and a bus attendant? And I learned that bus drivers get to eat free, and I thought that was a cool little tidbit of knowledge. Did you know
I
that
did
before that
not
trip?
know that. That is actually new
Yeah.
information.
If they can prove that they're a bus driver, then they get free food at fast food restaurants.
That's very cool.
So then after the bus ride, obviously we got to the camp, and I barely remember what it looked like on the outside. Do you?
I think I only remember because I think since it was a school we were staying in, maybe it's because my high school was super small, but I just remember being like, this is an oppressively large school. That's all
Yeah.
I can remember.
Did it feel like Hogwarts with all the branching paths and?
It did. It felt like a campus. Like I felt like it was almost like a mini college campus because I'm like, why is this so big? This is like a high school. This is a very large school apparently.
And what did you think of the color of the walls? Because I remember thinking the place looked so ugly.
I really do not recall the color of the walls.
It
That
was
is a
like-
detail I do not remember.
It was like yellowish brown.
I don't remember that, but if it was that color, that's a choice. I don't not maybe not the best choice, but one nonetheless.
So then after that, we moved into our sleeping quarters. And obviously there were way more girls than there were guys. Did it ever feel overwhelming being in a classroom with that many people?
I only would say no because I've gone on quite a few trips, like volunteer trips before this, and I was used to like I was always at least 30 women in like a small room sleeping together, and so I'm like, this is standard. This is protocol. So I was used to it by that point.
At least you probably weren't kicked out of your classroom, though, were you?
No, I was not.
Yeah, because with the guys, we were kicked out of our classroom because of the other guys that we were staying with were causing trouble. And it was always after I left the room because I guess they were like, "Oh, the chaperone's gone. Now we can cause trouble."
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, that's probably the kids doing
Yeah. Catholic Heart was really weird with sleeping arrangements, so I think that might have been partially the fault of the structure of the camp. But on the other hand, I also feel like that's a good structure because if the adults. Nah, I won't try to dissect it. We're here for your memories here, not mine. So the classroom didn't give you any troubles, wasn't too uncomfortable. The girls didn't like.
I remember vaguely, this has nothing to do with the sleeping arrangements. Just one night, I woke up and I very, like, half awake. For some reason, just opened my eyes and looked at the room, and I think someone was sleepwalking because there was someone just, like, standing in the middle of the room staring at nothing. And I was so tired, I didn't think anything of it until I woke up the next morning, and I was like, wow, that was actually really creepy. I have no idea why I did not do anything. It wasn't sleep paralysis because I rolled over, so I'm like, well, that was really strange.
I have
That's
sleep.
what I have.
I have sleep paralysis sometimes in my dreams, but I don't think I do in real life. At least if I do, I don't remember it. So that sounds really terrifying.
It was so weird. I just laughed because I think about it where I was so unalarmed. If I were in a horror movie, I would do very poorly. I think so because I was not alarmed.
Oh gosh. So we're already off on an interesting start. So what about the cafeteria? So then the next part of the trip was that we had to unload the food from the van into the cafeteria. Do you remember any of the snacks that we brought? And if you don't, I mean, I don't. I barely even remember what snacks we brought. So what did you think about the eating arrangements, like the food and the meals? What did you think about those?
I remember thinking they were okay. Not extraordinary, but they weren't bad because I've had some bad volunteer trip eating experiences. So I would say this was somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I would say it was pretty good too. Like maybe it's just because how do I word this? I'm not the richest guy in the world, so like I've learned to like be not as picky with what I eat. So having like tacos for Tuesday was amazing.
I remember you were really excited for Taco Tuesday.
I was so excited. I think I even like busted out my Taco Tuesday shirt.
I literally was going to say if I remember you had a Taco Tuesday shirt. For some reason that is something I am thinking. Yes.
Yup, sure did. And did you like Hamburger Thursday too?
I remember them calling it that. That's painful. Hamburger Thursday. That's bad. Oh, I don't remember that.
And do you also remember when the lights went out? I think it was like Thursday evening. They had a power outage and they said, "We're going to do a candlelit program."
Yeah, I think I do remember that. Yeah, that was. Yeah, that was improvising at their finest, I guess.
And at that point I was like, is this camp finally going to redeem itself? And then the power came back on and they said, "No, we're doing a regular program." And I'm like, darn it, a candlelit program would have been so cool.
It would have been very cool. Yeah, I agree.
One of these days you and I will have to like make a retroactive candlelit program to try to pretend that it happened.
Oh gosh.
So one of the things about that camp that wasn't really advertised very well was something called pre-program prayer services. They really stretched out that acronym.
They sure did. I didn't remember that acronym, but
So basically like an adult would volunteer each of the 4 weeknights, and they would do like a presentation on whatever the camp told them to do.
yeah.
So I went to 3 of the 4 of them, and they were very poorly attended. Like mine was by far the highest attendance. Like I got 6 teenagers at mine, whereas I think the others averaged like 3 people.
Ooh.
None of them teenagers.
Ooh.
Did you end up going to? Well,
I truly don't think I did because I'm not recognizing what you're talking about. So the fact that I don't recognize it, I think.
speaks volumes to the camp not advertising it
Yeah,
very
I was
well.
gonna say, I think I would have known if I attended something with three people as well. Being one of the three people, I don't remember
Well, I
that,
know you
though.
didn't go to the first three because I was there. You didn't go to
No.
my module about Four
I
Corners.
really didn't know that it was a thing. So you're right. I don't think it was advertised because I don't even
Well, it wasn't even on the
remember.
schedule. It was just something that the camp leaders were like, "Hey guys, this is happening. Just remember it."
That is not helpful for a trip. That is, yeah, no, not good advertising on their part.
Okay, so next up we had the work groups.
Hmm.
So first you had to get to know your work group. So did
Yes.
you overall like the camaraderie of the people
I
you worked
I
with?
did. I really did. I had one of my best friends at the time in my group where she was one of the people that convinced me to go on the trip. So I was with her and then a few people we like met and they were all really really nice and I feel like we got along together really well. And I was just happy that everyone was willing to do what they needed to do. No one was going to complain. Everyone was just there having a good time, happy to be there. And I was like, ah, yes, this is the type of environment I need. I cannot handle when people complain and I'm like, you volunteered to do this. Please don't do this to me. But yeah, I had a really good time.
Did you keep in touch with the people in your work team?
I did for a bit. While I have not talked to them in a long time, I do still follow multiple of them on social media, so I see them updating. Like one of the guys I went with, I know that he has a family and he just recently like had a baby, and so I see pictures of his baby, and I'm like, oh, that's so
Yeah, I don't
nice.
follow anyone from my work team. But then again, they were all teenagers and they didn't really like me that much. But that's a story I told in my own video. We'll save that for another time.
Hmm.
But did you enjoy the team building activities that they did on Sunday, where like the stuff with like the trust board and the 20 questions and all that?
All I remember from that is I remember getting my group because I was laughing that I was somehow in a group with my best friend, and I was like, noise. And I just remember meeting the people in my group for the first time, and I really don't remember anything else after that. I remember sitting on the gym floor, and that it was a big gym, and being like, nice. That is the extent of my memory.
Yeah, I think we only used the gym for that one thing because they had
Yeah.
like the big stairs like an auditorium.
Yeah.
Did you like the fact that it was like an amphitheater in the program area where we're getting slightly off track, but like did you like how the seats like kept going up?
I was gonna say I did really like the place that they had a lot of the programs at. I thought was really nice because it made it feel. I've been to places too where they just like set up chairs and like a random like cafeteria or random gym, and it is much less enthusing when you have like an actual space where performances are like usually done. So it feels more interesting that way, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think the programs were pretty good, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. So, what did you think about daily mass? Another thing you don't remember?
No, I do remember daily mass. I don't know. Daily mass, the minute you wake up and like every day for me is a bit overwhelming. I'm just like sometimes not very much of a morning person. And so every morning before going through the work site and doing a whole mass, I'm like, ooh, folks, I'm barely awake right now. This is a lot to handle at
Yeah,
like right in the morning.
yeah, that's definitely how I felt too. Like, I definitely was struggling to stay awake for some of those homilies.
Yeah,
Are we really going on 14 minutes already? Dang.
maybe.
Okay, so moving on past that, what was your work project, and what did you think of
I
that?
what was it, my work project? I was literally in a group where I forget where our name was, but we basically served as where we needed to fill in at other sites. And so my first 2 days we were bouncing around at like three different sites, and they eventually were like, we don't need you here anymore. So then we just got pushed to another site. But eventually what we ended up doing is we were helping this older man whose house was going to be ooh, I forget the word, but it was in really bad condition, so they were considering like basically tearing down the house. And so we were there to like clean up his house so it was in livable conditions, because when we were there it was not livable. Like, I took care of that bathroom, and I don't think that bathroom was cleaned in at least 10 years, and
Mm.
there was like excrement places, and there was like bugs everywhere, and so we just like really deep cleaned that man's house. I think we did a really good job. Like, it was much much better and like actually livable after we took care of it. But yeah, that was our big project. We were there for 3 days then, after we got like bumped from the other sites, where they're like, get out of here.
And did you find that your team like got along enough to get the jobs done? Do you feel like the work was divided well enough?
I think it was. That's kind of what I was saying earlier. Is my group was like really willing to work very hard to do what needed to be done, and so we were able to get a lot done. And no one was really complaining. They were all like, "Whatever you need me to do, just let me know." And I think everyone was like very willing to just help however needed to be helped. So I think it went really well, because the team was just worked together well, but was also just willing what needed to be done.
Well, that's good because I feel like my team, because there were two team builders on the team, and my other team builder is very OCD, and so she insisted that it be done exactly the way that she wanted it to be done, which at the time I kind of, like, retroactively, I think that was probably the right call, but I also feel like I was, like, in the midst of my depression at the time, so that was really not what I needed.
Yeah.
So, overall, it sounds like the working was probably the best part of the camp for you. Would you say that?
I felt I was very happy with the project we ended up doing, because it's something you could really noticeably see the change, and you could really tell like this is gonna help this man out a lot. So it was really nice having a project where you could see the change, and having a group that was just willing to do what needed to be done. It was really refreshing. Yeah.
That's good. Well, it certainly sounds like you had a better time than I did.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh.
At least you didn't have the red killer ants.
Oh, I heard about that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No. Unfortunately, no killer ants where we were at.
Unfortunately, she says, as though she's expecting them. So, since we just skipped a huge portion of the camp, then every single evening we had programs.
Yes.
So, I guess we'll start with programs in general, and then we'll move on to, like, the big stuff as we go along. So, what did you think about the programs? And let me interrupt you for a minute.
Yeah, go for it.
My audience has heard a few horror stories about what happened on those programs, so I'm sure they would love to hear, like, oh, I want to hear Allison's perspective.
Programs, like, is the programs during the 2015? Or, like, programs in general? Like, when you say horror stories from the programs?
The programs at that particular camp, like the color pink and the inappropriate joke that will not be said here and all of that stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, oh, your computer did the thing.
I think
Is it still going?
I think it's still going, but I
Did
think
it just freeze? Oh, there we go. Sorry,
Okay.
technical difficulties. So I expected like these type of programs, having been on trips similar to this, and I kind of knew like how they generally flow. There was, some things they did that I don't.
You don't condone at a Catholic camp?
Yeah, there's just some things I'm like, I don't think they thought this one through very well. I thought the staff was really, really nice that was working there, and they were really passionate about what they were doing.
We just had a really bad group of kids in the other group.
Yeah, I just, sometimes I like the programs and what they stand for, and like the different things. Sometimes I think the programs go a little long, especially like I like these trips, but like I was saying, like when you have morning mass, you're at the site all day, and then you do all this programming. I have so little energy by the end of the day. I'm just like, I can barely stay awake right now. Like, we're really pushing it, folks.
Yeah, it does get tiring as the week goes on.
Yeah.
I really liked Greg. Do you remember him?
I
Greg
think
would
I
always
do.
like
Yeah.
try to make everything funny.
Yeah.
Remember when he had that screen full of boxes and he's trying to make the boxes entertaining?
Yes. I do. I do like the skit they did with the adults because someone in my group did it where everyone was wearing like inflatable costumes. Do you remember
Oh
that?
yeah, I remember it
I
now that
still
you
have
said it.
I had a memory pop up where someone in my group was wearing like an inflatable I don't even know if it was like a gorilla suit or something, but I'm just like, what is this? I like could barely remember what it was from, and I'm like, why do I have this on my phone?
I think one of the adult leaders from our group was dressed up as a giant oversized baby.
Oh, I do remember that because I remember being like, that is kind of scary, but
It's like teenage cringe at its best.
yeah, it really is. Oh
What
my God.
about the How to Pray skit? What did you think of that one?
I vaguely remember that as well, but I did think it was funny. But I don't even remember what it
I
is.
think you were in it.
Was I? No, I don't remember being in any of the skits.
You didn't. That was the skit our group did.
Was it?
You don't remember that? I mean, if you were
Paul,
in it.
I look. I'm like. There's so many things to remember. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I do not recall this one. Can you? Do you remember how the skit goes?
Yeah, it was. Edward was the kid in our group that was playing the main character. He was asking God what is the best way to pray.
Yeah.
So various people in our youth group would then come up to him and say, "This is how to pray," but they would all do it wrong. Like one would say,
Oh, yeah.
"War," and the next would say, "Gimme, gimme, gimme, gimme."
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I think you were one of the people that was teaching him how to pray wrongly.
I probably was. You're right. I probably was. It sounds like something I would volunteer to do, and also something I would probably forget because I'm very good at forgetting things.
And then what about the cheesy pickup lines?
Oh, no comment. No comment. There was one that slid through that should have not slid through, and I was like, this poor old woman who was like vetting these comments did not pick this one up, and it was rough. And I'm like, oh, woo, no one needs to hear that one. That wasn't even funny.
Well, she wasn't exactly old, but you know
Oh,
what I
I
mean.
thought it was one of the older women vetting it, so I was.
I think she was like 24 at the time.
Just kidding. She was not old. That should have not gone through. Maybe she's not familiar with pop culture because it was a pop culture reference, and I'm just like, ooh, yeah, no.
Yeah, and then all the guys, when we got back, we were like, did she say what I think she said? And they're all just like... And then Allison was sitting next to me at the time, and she just shouted out, "Is that allowed?"
He totally wasn't. I was just like, come on. I know I'm one of the older people here, and I know for a fact these kids know what this means. This is really inappropriate. Oh my gosh.
Were there any pickup lines that you liked?
I don't know if it was one said, but me and my friend were where it's like it was something like, "Hey, do you know what my favorite book in the Bible is? It's Numbers. Speaking of numbers, can I have yours?"
That's a good one. I don't think that was said on the mission.
No, I think we did like an iteration of that at some point, and we were like laughing at it.
Well, the one that was my favorite, which I'm sure you'll remember it after I say it, is when the guy tugged on his shirt and he said,
I said,
"Feel this.
this is
What do you... Boyfriend material."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
That one was
that's
pretty
a
good. The guy that just said, "What's your favorite color?" And then he said, "Mine's pink." And apparently that was supposed to be a pickup line.
I don't understand.
And then
that.
the camp members just pushed him into the fake chair because he was just going to walk away after that.
Oh yeah, I don't know. There was some things where I'm just like, who planned this? Come on, folks, who did this?
I think the staff members got pretty upset at the teenagers because, like, remember during, like, "How I saw God this week," those moments, like, the teenagers would be trying to be really serious, and then the ones in the audience would be, like, clapping or laughing.
Oh yeah, that was, which I thought was kind of weird because like I went on mission trips before that in high school, and like we usually did not have that problem. So I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, but there's something weird going on this week.
Well, at all the Catholic Hearts I went to before that and after that, no one would ever clap during the I see God moments until after everyone had spoken, unless if it was something very profoundly powerful. Like in 2011, there was the speech I gave about the girl that hugged me in the rain. That got a round of applause. And then Jeff, which you know from the 2014 video, he did the story about the concrete miracle. He got a round of applause. But that's it. Apart from that, it was all just silence. So I think the mood was kind of ruined by that.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's the general feeling you felt about the programs in general? Was like it could have been great if we had a more mature group of kids?
I think there was some parts in the program. I do think like working a lot with teens, like that's gonna happen sometimes. It is just the nature of things. I don't know. I personally felt like kind of weird during the trip too because I was like technically like I was in college, so I wasn't a teen, but I also wasn't a chaperone. So I'm like, I don't know what my role's supposed to be. Like I want to like as a camp counselor, I'm like I want to help like guide these teens, but I don't know if that's my place. But at the same time, I'm like I don't know if I need to be an authority figure if I can just like
Yeah.
have fun and not have to deal with this.
Catholic art was weird about ages.
Yeah, it was really strange. It was very strange.
I know you. I remember you were telling me that I think you said that sometimes you were like treated like a teenager, and you weren't the biggest fan of that. Hope I didn't treat you like a teenager.
No, you didn't.
That's
No.
good.
Yeah.
You were actually one of the brightest spots of that entire trip. I've told her that many, many times, but now I'm telling you guys here so that you can see her reaction. You exaggerated that for the camera, didn't you?
I did, but that is very kind. I really appreciate that, Paul.
Yeah, every single morning I'd wake up and I'd be all depressed because, you know, I was going through depression. Allison would come up, she'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy and I'm so excited to go on my work team and oh my gosh, you want to hear about what we did yesterday? So I think we've touched on the minor program elements. So what did you think about like Eucharistic adoration and Four Corners, which were some of the bigger things? Because you probably don't remember the staff testimony night.
No, I do remember because I know like you're a really big fan of Four Corners. I did really enjoy it. I think it's like a really good like somber wave, like deep reflection and like kind of like bringing us together for more of like the important reasons for like the trip itself. Am I okay? No, I think I'm thinking of a different. I'm thinking of a different mission trip where I'm thinking of what the church looked like that we went to. But if I'm correct, that night didn't we do an evening mass as well?
We only did an evening mass on Sunday
On
because
Sunday,
that was because we arrived like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
But we did morning mass every other day.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
So you're giving the generalization of Four Corners. Of course, for me, I like to give all the details.
I would be lying to you if I said I remembered the details. I just knew every corner was different. I knew there was like reflection. I did enjoy it, but if I told you specifics, I'd be lying to you because I do not remember.
Well, I don't remember all the specifics either, but I remember enough that it made that part of the 2015 video actually that the trip wasn't a total disaster to my audience. So, then we had the dance party on both Tuesday and Thursday. Did you like? I know you liked the one on Thursday because we actually danced together.
We square danced, yes.
We square danced together, but then I made this really terrible mistake where, because we were dancing around a bunch of chairs, Alice had accidentally hurt her knee. And she shouted out, oh my gosh, this is awkward. But I was like panicking so much about like Catholic Heart's guidelines for not doing sexual harassment that I thought when she said, oh, this is awkward, it was because I thought that she thought that I was sexually harassing her by asking her to dance.
No, I also need to clarify. I'm like very confident that I probably did not use the phrase, oh, this is awkward. Probably more than anything, I just said something like, oh, my knee! Because I do remember hitting my knee and being worried for a second, but then being like, no, I think we're okay. And that's like all I thought about it. And I knew you felt really bad, but I was like, do not worry about this. This happens. Not a big deal, man. Not a big deal.
That's good. Because then eventually you, like, ran into the crowd and were beckoning, like, come join me, Paul. But I thought you said, don't join me, Paul. Because
I remember you telling me that.
'cause
Yeah,
you were
and
mad at me.
I was like, I would not say that. That is really mean. I would not do that. Absolutely not.
Well, it's good that we actually sorted that out several years ago. I just wanted you to know that that was a hilarious miscommunication we had. So then the last part of our trip agenda was the free day on Friday. So
Yes.
we split up into two groups. One group went to the water park, and the other group went to the aquarium. And you and I were in the aquarium group. Hopefully I can edit in a picture of the picture that we took, which, spoiler alert, we were not actually behind a fish tank. That was a green screen. I still have that picture in my room, too.
I was gonna say, did you have
think
a copy of it? Because you gave me
I think
a
I
copy
gave
of
you
it.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Assuming you didn't get a copy because, you were there.
No, yeah, I don't think I actually got a copy of that one, but I do have the copy you gave me. I think it's on my bedstand right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were, like, front and center, pretty much.
I might have been, yes. I think I was probably desiring to be the center of attention. Perhaps.
So, first of all, what was your reasoning for wanting to go to the aquarium instead of the water park? Because you and I love going swimming nowadays, but,
Yeah.
what was your reason back then? We actually just went swimming today, as a matter of fact, in case you're wondering why our hair looks all tangled.
Yes. I honestly think it was my friends who I went on the trip with, I think, wanted to go to the aquarium, and I don't think I wanted to go to the water park because I just think I didn't want to go to the water park.
Or maybe you didn't bring a swimsuit?
I don't even remember, honestly. I just remember I would, prefer to... Honestly, because if I still had the choice, if someone's like, do you want to go to the water park or aquarium, I would probably choose aquarium just because I really like museum-like things, where I really like things where I can learn. I mean, water parks are a ton of fun. I would still like to... I mean, if I had the choice for both, I would choose both. But I just like aquariums, and I feel like with water parks, there's a lot of waiting. There's you're on a time limit, so there's a rush. You can only do a certain amount of things.
Yeah.
So at least in an aquarium, I feel like it's a more controlled environment, so where I don't have to necessarily limit what I want to and what I can't do. And
So,
yeah.
you and I actually didn't really spend any time together at the aquarium. I don't remember why. I think it was because we hardly knew each other at the time. But what were some of your experiences at the aquarium that you really liked, besides the picture that we all took?
I still have I have a picture from the aquarium that I still laugh at. It's me and my friend Alyssa, and your computer did the thing.
Oh, silly computer.
I'm waiting till it goes back. Technology. And then I can
Yeah.
see myself leaning towards the camera and staring at it. Oh no, it's still frozen. That's okay. I'm gonna keep talking here regardless. My friend Alyssa and I found this statue of these sea otters, and we were just being weird, and we took a picture next to the sea otters where we were just one of us was standing on our knees like this, because that's how one of the sea otters looked, and then the other one was just on the floor with their paws out. So we were just
Did you imitating that pose?
Yes, we were imitating the sea otters, and that is the one thing I very starkly remember, and I do have a picture of that still. I think I posted that on Instagram, actually.
Did you ever go to the gift shop?
I might have. I like going to the gift shops. I never buy anything because it is so wickedly expensive.
I never ended up using one of the products that I bought. I bought this lava lamp that responds to music, but I never used it because I didn't have a music player.
Oh, that's really cool.
I think I might have given it to someone. I think it might have even been you. I don't know.
I don't remember getting that. I feel like I would remember getting that.
But I also, one thing I did use from the gift shop was that I bought these saltwater taffy candies. And originally, people were like, "Oh, Paul, that's so gross." But then I said, "Do you want to at least try one?" And then all of a sudden, all of these girls from my youth group were like swarming around me, like, "Can I have some toffee? I want some coffee!" And eventually, even the group leader was like, "I don't like toffee, but I guess I'll try it." And then they all ended up just adoring it. And then it melted.
Oh, that's the worst. Oh my gosh.
And then I had to like eat it while it was melting on the wrappers, and it was
That is
terrible.
upsetting. That is upsetting. That is objectively not a good experience. I'm so sorry.
So then, after we were all done, are there any more aquarium stories we should mention?
No.
Okay, so after that, then we went to the Church of the Charleston shooting. Well, I
do
actually got to go to
remember
it
that.
twice.
Yeah,
so
I do have pictures from that.
I have that story on my video, but you only got to go to it once because that was the group agenda. So what did you
Yeah.
think about that whole experience? We didn't go into it, just to clarify.
No.
We were just outside of it.
You know, stuff like that can be pretty surreal, or just knowing there was such a devastating event that kind of occurred there recently, and just seeing the outpouring of the community for those who went through this event and just for the community affected by it. It was a very powering moment to see the aftermath of what the church was after that had occurred in the community. Yeah.
Did you like it when we all got in a circle, all 33 of us, and we prayed for all those involved?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really nice. And I also liked how we got to go up to that poster thingy and like sign our names and say like we're
Yeah.
praying for you. Assuming they could even see it because there were so many
There was
signatures
a lot
on there.
yeah. Oh no, the camera's like not showing anything.
Well, hopefully it's still recording our voices.
Oh jeez.
Well, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. The last thing I remember is, I remember you had this.
I remember you asking me about fraternities and sororities, and I was explaining the concept of sororities.
Oh, that's.
When we were eating food on the way back, I do remember explaining that, and I was like, "Oh, college culture, let me explain."
Yeah, I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to that kind of stuff. So the last thing I just wanted to say was that you had this really cool quirk where every single time I would see you, you'd always say that you were dead tired, but then
Yes.
the longer you talked, the more perked up you'd get. And then you eventually was like, "It's because I'm an extrovert."
I was literally about to say, I'm like, yes, that is because I'm an extrovert.
Do you think the audience would gather that by this video, or do you think like the weather is like turning you into an introvert?
I was just about to say that. I don't know if you could gather that. I was gonna say, yeah, this harsh climate is not allowing me to be my authentic, true self. I'm very cold, although I just ate, so I'm slightly comatose. But yes, yes.
Alright, well, we'll wrap this up so that Allison doesn't turn into a popsicle. So thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Paul, for having me.
And until the next time, audience, keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Allison, do you... They finally showed us up! What the heck?
It's so funny.
Was it because I said God bless?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, would you like to say something to the audience now that they can actually see your exuberant, boisterous, bubbly self that the cold is not allowing you to say?
Stay warm out there, and have a good day.
Alright, bye!
Can't see my hands.